This phone right here has given me some of the best battery life I've ever experienced on a OnePlus device, but having used it for about a week or so, I think there's one thing that will be a deal breaker for a lot of people. The OnePlus 15R is a budget flagship, and you can tell this pretty much right away. As soon as you get it in your hand, it feels, and the touch of it is exactly the same as OnePlus 15, especially the back here. If you were to get any marks on the back itself, you can just wipe it clean and it's completely gone, and it has that nano texture coating as well, which is of course from the OnePlus 15. Along the frame, you do of course get the OnePlus key on the side as well, which we've mapped to camera, but you can change this in software to a bunch of other things like torch or an AI tool, or have it to not do anything at all, or even profiles. It's entirely up to you. On the front, you get a stereo speakers at the top and at the bottom, and then on the rear, the camera housing is now completely changed from what was a cylindrical design on the OnePlus 15R to now this design here, which is more rectagonal and more like the OnePlus 15. On the display front, you get a 1.5K 6.83 inch AMOLED display with 165 Hz and 3200 nits of peak brightness. Now the display itself is actually an LTPS panel, not LTPO, which means it will not bend down to 1 Hz, which does make it less power efficient than an LTPO panel. But on the plus side, that 3200 nits of peak brightness means using this day or night, outside or inside, you're going to get a super vibrant, punchy color with tons of detail and really good dynamic range, which are all the plus points to having a really bright and vibrant display on what I call a budget flagship. Also, if you use this at night, that 3200 nits of peak brightness can bend all the way down to 1 nit to help protect things like your eyes. You do also get Aqua Touch technology, and more importantly, IP68 and IP69K dust and water resistance as well. On the performance front, especially battery, it's a 7400 mAh battery, silicon carbon with 80 watts of wired charging, but that battery is actually smaller than the equivalent model in China, which is called the Ace 6, I believe, and that gets an over 8000 mAh battery. But day-to-day wise, we use this regularly for things like browsing the web, taking photos, and gaming, and we were getting multi-day battery use, and I'm talking 3 to 4 hours of screen on time, no problem at all. In fact, the day of shooting this video, we actually used it for a number of hours and still had over a day and multiple hours worth of use left, to show you an indication just how long the battery life is on the OnePlus 15R. And in terms of battery, we're actually going to be working on developing something with software automation that will allow us to give a more detailed, accurate reading of battery life and battery performance longevity wise, and in terms of day-to-day use from 0 to 100. So keep an eye on our channel for that. That is coming real soon, and whilst you're there, make sure you like and subscribe as well. Under the hood, it's powered by a Snapdragon 8 Gen 5, which is Snapdragon's latest near flagship level chipset. And when you run this through 3D Mark's Lifestyle Extreme tests, it does come with a decent amount of throttling under heavy load, but on 3D Mark's test, it also shows quite a big jump in terms of heat management from 33 to 44 degrees, which is almost way more than what you'd expect on a flagship level chipset, but it's kind of a thing with Snapdragon Dimensity chipsets. So at the back end of 25 and now into 2026. Also running this thing through Geekbench as well, you again get similar near flagship level results. But what I would say, in real life, day-to-day wise, we gamed on Call of Duty Mobile on this for a decent amount of time, playing quite a few games, and never actually saw any issues with its performance, or any throttling and heat. But we want you to check out the gameplay here, and at the end of the video itself, we will show you what the actual battery temperature is on Call of Duty Mobile, playing this game at 165 Hz. Oh, that's so lucky. But it doesn't matter. Ooh, delicioso. GPU app is saying, instead of temperature, 33 degrees. And it's the exact same scenario. That temperature never increased when we played other games like Delta Force, Car X Street as well. So the heat management on day-to-day wise, you will see as being absolutely normal and will not actually get too warm as the 3D Mark tests show. On the OS front, it's Android 16, Oxygen OS 16 out of box. So you get all the latest OS features on this phone, which is sick. And it's possibly one of the most stable, best, smoothest experiences you'll get out there. Being able to do simple things that are functional, like hold down an application, drag it wide to create shortcuts within that app, is super sick. Like we did here with Google Drive, it allows you to scan and upload simply by tapping a single widget on an icon, which is awesome. And then on the customization front, lock screen themes have been pushed to the next level, to be fair. They're called Flux themes, no idea why, but you get a lot of customization here, which allows you to create a more dynamic lock screen that's a bit more fun. Yes, it's very iOS-y, but it's nice to see that this UX and general feel of the OS has evolved quite a lot, and it's now a lot more user-friendly than it used to be. The AI front, you get all of the features that you'd come to expect when it comes to AI, and Magic Eraser, or AI Eraser as they call it on here, is excellent. Being able to remove things significantly from a background works really, really well, but you also get a ton of other AI features as you'd come to expect from a flagship device. So the OnePlus 15R is shaping up to be a near budget flagship, but there is one main issue with this device, and that's the big catch of this particular phone, and that's its rear lenses. You get three of them here: a 50 megapixel wide, a 8 megapixel ultra wide, and a 32 megapixel front facing sensor. And let's break those sensors down. The new Detail Max engine does a lot of image processing here for the main lens, and sadly the results are very middling, with some images producing natural looking effects without being overly sharp or contrasting. Generally though, images can look soft and lack that punch in real life in terms of color and detail that you'd expect from this particular sensor. The ultra wide is the biggest letdown here. Of course, being 8 megapixel, it gets not great results and is incredibly soft. To be fair, not going to go into detail that much about the ultra wide. The performance in general is pretty poor, and in 2026 it's a disgrace that this is an 8 megapixel ultra wide. And then the selfie camera does a decent job overall. It's 32 megapixels and outputs necessarily some pretty nice images with good detail, but does overexpose. It is pretty much possible. The video bit though, weirdly, is probably the best part of the whole camera system. You can shoot up to 4K 120 FPS from the linear lenses, and it outputs colors pretty nicely at 30 and 120 and does a decent overall job in terms of color balance and detail. The 15R does lose the telephoto lens that was found on the 13R as well, so that is a significant downgrade versus this 15R. The OnePlus 15R is a pretty good phone, and the launch price of $649 does mean it's quite competitively priced, but I would say it falls directly in line with something like a Xiaomi 15T Pro, and for a little bit more money, the Poco F8 Ultra. Both those devices will do a better overall job on almost every front, except maybe for OS. Their cameras are better, the battery life will be equally as good, and generally the performance, etc., is all equally the same on both those devices as well. And the cameras are outstanding on both of those versus this 15R. So who is this for? Well, if you're a power user who doesn't care about cameras, this is great for you. But if you do care about cameras, it's maybe worth taking a miss on the 15R. But let us know in the comment section below your thoughts on the OnePlus 15R and those camera compromises. Are they a deal breaker? And whilst you're there, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Until the next one, as always, we out.